Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes. I don't know if I've got my name to come up. Do I have my name coming up these days? Oh, I do. It's a bit low on the screen now. I'll move it up a little bit. There you go. Brilliant. All happening now. And I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. I hope I'm coming through loud and clear. It is Wednesday, the 18th of December, 2024. Well done, as always, for making it this far. Year's nearly over. Later on, we'll have our last PMQs of the year. I'll be streaming that live with commentary if you want it. If you don't want the commentary, don't watch it on the Parliament channel. Watch it on the BBC, and then you would have me talking over the top of it. I always find it a bit weird that people like complain about the thing that you advertise. It's like you sell them a bag of crisps, and they're like, "But I didn't want a bag of crisps," and you're like, "That's literally what you just bought off me." It's very strange. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Elon Musk today and his disturbing face, because he has got quite a disturbing face, but also the fact that he is planning to infiltrate British politics now after successfully infiltrating American politics to a very, very disturbing degree. But before we get to that, we'll say hello to Vendetta there. We've got Siskin Edge, we've got Martin Harrow, we've got Sarah Davis. Hi, Sarah. We've got Al Rowan, we've got Billy Kershaw, we've got Jeff True, we've got Cathal, we've got Jupp James, we've got Lee Corn, and we've got Russell Cannon. How you all doing, peeps? Hope you're all right. If you would like to join them in the chat, all you need to do is subscribe and be very patient. Wait 60 seconds, and then you can join the chat. Oh, yes. So, Elon Musk, gobshite. So I'm going to try and call him a C unit, because if I call him the C bomb, then I actually get demonetized on this channel. So, or this episode will. So let's not call him that. Let's call him a C unit. So this See You Next Tuesday, Elon Musk, a child of apartheid. A child of apartheid South Africa. A man who made his millions because his dad was rich and he had money to invest in shit, like PayPal, which was also Peter Thiel, another guy who's turned out to be incredibly evil, also from Germany. It's interesting, these immigrants who come over to America, like Murdoch, Thiel and Musk, seem to cause so much trouble, especially for immigrants in those countries where they decide to go and, latch onto their necks, metaphorically speaking, with their fangs and unleash the venom, which they love to do, So we are in a situation now where Labour need to act fast. Labour need to do something very, very quickly. And what they need to do is to stop all major contributions to political parties or causes. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just one sec. Sorry, builders. Anyway, morning, Graham. Morning, says Jenny and Sarah. Paul is there saying we need to learn from Murdoch and the influence he had over the traditional print and broadcast media. The democracies need to come down hard on social media interference. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. But first, let's talk about money. Let's just talk about money coming in to Parliament, coming into parliamentarians, coming into MPs, members of Congress, or whoever. If you pay someone some money, generally, you want something back, don't you? Don't you? Do you just give money away? Just throw it all away? I don't want anything back. I'm sure if I just left a note saying, hey, please leave a super chat, and didn't actually do a show, you'd be a bit like, well, what am I giving you a super chat for, Graham? You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Lemon pie. So, here's the question, right? Elon Musk, he's bought his way into American politics, and here's what he's going to do. He is going to use his leverage to defund any competition to what he wants to get money out of the government for. So he already gets, through SpaceX, and through Tesla and a bunch of other companies, he gets a shitload of funding from the US government, i.e. the US taxpayer. The US taxpayer subsidizes Elon Musk's scumbagginess. And what he's going to do, one of the first things he's going to do, and I guarantee he'll do this, is that he's going to stop the high-speed rail line that's almost completed between LA and San Francisco, something that's been being built for the last few years. And he's going to stop that, just like, the baddie in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because the streetcars, the trolley cars are a problem, so he's going to get rid of them. Oh, no, that was Firestone Tires. No, he wants to build a freeway through Toontown. Basically, that's what he wants to do. He wants to make sure that all the money all that federal money, all that juicy federal funding gets siphoned away from the programs that it's supposed to be spent on at the moment, like, I don't know, health a little bit, education a little bit, and into his pockets. And he's going to be in a position to do that. He's going to do exactly the same thing in the UK, if we let him, if Labour let him. And this is Labour's chance to step up to the mark, right? Because do you remember how the tabloids over the summer absolutely lost their shit over the fact that Angela Rayner got some free clothes? Keir Starmer got a guestie to a gig. So this isn't actual money in a suitcase, you know? This is your name on a list so you get into a gig, right? And every gig since the dawn of time, dawn of gigs, has had a guest list. And because you're an MP, you have to declare how much those tickets will be worth. But to be honest with you, you can't really transfer your guest list pass. So, well, I suppose you could if you tried, but it's not something that's usually done. Those tickets don't exist. You know, if you got a 250 person venue, you sell 200 tickets or 220 tickets. You never sell 250 because you always want to leave a few for guesties or whatever. It seems bananas to me that this is the thing that they got very upset about in the tabloids. But now they're dead excited because Farage, Nigel Farage, the human centipede, the frog-faced, nicotine-stained pissant, the bollock-faced foghorn of ignorance. He's the Nazi who spoke at an AFD rally, because, you know, that's the kind of thing that a Nazi does. The Nazi who appeared on RT with a moustache for some reason. Many times. Russia Today, you know, the old Russian state propaganda channel. He's happy to go on that, get paid handsomely. A guy with deep ties to Russia, and also the likes of Aaron Banks and Cambridge Analytica and these general forces of evil, and Peter Thiel, obviously. And he's going to be given 100 million. This is what they're talking about, 100 million pounds in order for refuck to win the next election. And with that kind of money, they probably can. Do you want that not to happen? Can you write to your MP today? Can you write to your MP? I don't care what party they are. Write to your MP today and say, I am increasingly concerned about immigration. They'll love that. They'll get really excited. Well, unless it's a Labour MP. Don't say that if it's a Labour MP. Just say one specific immigrant. One illegal immigrant, a guy who lived in America illegally in the 1990s. Now, when I went for my American visa, in my shitty black passport last October, one of the questions they asked me was if I have ever been thrown out of a country, ever stayed in a country illegally. And I was like, no, that hasn't happened. And but he has. He stayed there illegally. So he is technically an illegal immigrant in America. Obviously, he's not now, but he was at the time. And most illegal immigrants who they'll then go on to establish a family or a business or whatever, become legal immigrants after a while, because that's just the way the system works. But we've been told that immigrants are bad for all these years. I've had 45 years of bullshit of these right-wing rags owned by a tiny cartel of a handful of billionaires, usually who live abroad, by the way, or are foreign, like Rupert Murdoch, who's not even from this country, who's, I don't think, ever paid tax in this country. A man who has just a really, really disturbing hold over the popular imagination in this country. Why? Because people are fucking lazy. That's why, ladies and gentlemen. Don't say to people they're stupid. This is a top tip I've picked up from fighting against Brexit. Don't call people stupid. And it's the same as trying to get them out of a cult. Don't call them stupid, because if you call people stupid, they go, I'm not stupid, and they double down, okay? Don't call them that. Call them lazy, because that's what they are. They are so lazy they can't be arsed thinking for themselves. They want Murdoch, a 100-year-old dinosaur from Australia, to come into their living room and tell them what to think. Because they can't be arsed doing that for themselves. It's too much effort. And if you call someone lazy, 9 times out of 10, people go, I'm not lazy. And then they do something to prove they're not lazy. No one likes being called lazy. Trust me on this one. No one likes being called lazy. Well, no one likes being called stupid, but there's nothing you can do about that. With being lazy, you can go the extra mile. You know, if you are actually stupid, you can't prove you're not stupid. But if you are lazy, you can go some way to try and prove that you're not lazy. And that's what we need to do. Okay, so Scott has dropped a £10 super chat. Well, a $9.99 super chat. That's very kind of you. My small contribution to counter Musk's 100 million to reform. Thank you so much, sir. You are an absolute angel. Thank you, Scott. I'll do with that on a quite dreary Wednesday morning here in Durham. So they get publicity for free. What? Front page of the Times today was ominous. Big events have always handed out tickets to high-profile people because they want them there for publicity. Yeah, and it's like complaining about the Queen going to the 1966 World Cup final. Like, it's the Queen. What's the problem? Did you expect her to buy a ticket? It does annoy me, though. It does annoy me that we have a system in which if you are rich and therefore famous, or famous and therefore rich, you get into things for free, whereas the rest of us have to pay for it. That kind of annoys me. And even someone who is a champion blagger, who has blagged his way into hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating here, hundreds of gigs, I still feel like, I think there should be more people like me getting into gigs and fewer people who don't care about music and are only there because they're famous and stand at the back with their arms folded or in the VIP box. The VIP box, like they have them at gigs, Graham. Okay, the balcony. Sitting on the balcony, arms folded, having a chat. This happened to me in Arcade Fire, actually, about 15 years ago. I went to an Arcade Fire gig in Manchester. And the people behind us just nattered all the way through the gig. And it was seating. And normally I tried to get standing tickets so I could be at the front. Be at the front with a big bollocks to Brexit flag. Like at the end of the Bee Gees documentary. I'm so chuffed about this. So I don't know if I mentioned it, but there's a Bee Gees documentary called How Do You Mend a Broken Heart, which came out in 2020. And my flag that says bollocks to Brexit from Glastonbury 2017 is prominent in the end sequence. So during the credits, there's a bit of Barry Gibb singing "Staying Alive," and you can see there's multiple shots. And if you look very carefully, you can see my hat. Anyway, the point being that rich people get free stuff, which is very irritating. But first of all, before I go on, I'm going to go to Alistair. Thank you very much, Alistair. You're going to get a little super chat animation. Graham, a Scottish Reform candidate cop's investigation into his terrorist links was in the Scottish paper this morning. Oh my God. Links to terrorism, eh? Who would have thunked it? There's only 5 refuck MPs, and one of them was jailed for beating his girlfriend. Jailed. Not, just a slap on the wrist, but literally jailed for, for being a brute, for being a scumbag. Okay, so I'm just gonna. I'm kind of intrigued what the front cover of the Times is. Labour MPs rebel over new blow to pensioners. Oh yeah, it's this picture of is it Peter Thiel? Is it? And they're standing in front of a weird portrait of Trump where he looks like the baddie from Ghostbusters 2. But Nick Candy, that's the one. Nick Candy, who's the husband of Eva Braun-alike, Holly Valance from Neighbours, who did a cover of a Turkish song, which she called Kiss Kiss. Yes. I should go to the papers, actually. I haven't got this set up, but I could get it set up, I think. I don't know. Maybe. What have we got here? Thank you for your super chats, says Reagan Leeds. Thank you for being here, Reagan. Reagan's boss. Reagan helps out in like loads of behind the scenes shit. Reagan, come on the show on Friday if you're about. We had one angry pagan come on last week, so just come on. I'm trying to get. Do you know what would be a real coup if I can get Marina and Gemma from the Troll to come on our show, and that'd be really really cool. The Queen at the 1966 World Cup final, she didn't know what end of a soccer racket to hold. Hey, indeed she didn't. So Elon Musk, how do we stop him from doing what he wants to do? Well, it's very simple actually. And I hate to say that because nothing's simple in this life, is it? But what Labour need to do is ban major political contributions from anyone, because what Musk plans to do, and what he will do, because he's a scumbag, is he is going to get around the rules on how much you're allowed to give to a political party. Oh, sorry, who's allowed to give? It's supposed to be a British company or a British person, right? So he's going to say, well, this subsidiary of Twitter, X, whatever the fuck he's calling it this week, is based in Britain, so it's somehow a British company, which of course it's not. It's oh, there's a knock on the door. I'm going to have to go and get the knock on the door. So I'm going to leave you in the safe, capable hands of the newspapers for a moment. So just let me move the papers here. So you read this while I go and answer the door. Okay, read this. For the love of God. All right, hi everyone. Sorry, had to go and answer the door. It's Christmas, isn't it? So you're getting loads of parcels. But also, Private Eye's just arrived. Hello, Private Eye. You can tell it's live, can't you? Yes. Are we all singing from the same hymn sheet? That's the joke on the front cover. Anyway, so I was going to jump into the papers in a moment. I wasn't going to do it quite so readily, but that just ended up happening, didn't it? Because shit happens, and it's shit. But yes, the way Labour needs to stop this from happening, there's, like I said, there's two things. There's the whole thing about, you can just say that you are British. You can say that your company is British, even though it's not, it's multinational. The other one is that you can say that you're British by dint of the fact that your grandfather was born in the UK, for instance, which is what this horrible, what's his name? Musk creep wants to do, this muskrat. This is his sinister plan to take over British politics and bend it to suit himself. And if it was a German person doing this, if it was a French person, a French entrepreneur, a French business person who had loads and loads of money and they wanted to interfere in British politics in this way, don't you think, and I'm going out on a limb here, don't you think that the newspapers would have something to say about it? Don't you think the newspapers would be a bit upset about it, in some way? I do. I think that's exactly what would happen. I think they'll be freaking out. I mean, I think they'll be absolutely losing their freaking heads over the fact that this Elon Musk fella, let's just call him Elon Musk fella from France is interfering in our politics. This European entrepreneur is doing these terrible things, because they want to influence. They're giving all this money to the Labour Party. So what Labour need to do is they need to tighten up the rules on donations. They need to just say, look, this is ridiculous. We can't go on like this. We can't be having foreign billionaires, the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, buying us. You can't just buy us. You can't just buy us. That's the rule. Labour won't stop Elon. They have some trans people to persecute. Well, that's another thing that Labour need to get a hold of, because the only people talking to them about trans issues are not trans people, but trans obsessives. Those weirdos, these absolute fucking weirdos who all look a bit, who wake up at 3 in the morning in a cold sweat because trans people exist, or because their penis is so small, or their clit is so big. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know why they're obsessed with other people's genitals. I don't know. Maybe they're not obsessed with their own, but seems likely, doesn't it? Seems likely, doesn't it? There's something gone wrong. Something's gone horribly wrong there. And now you've got J.K. Rowling. She's attacking black women for not looking white and feminine enough, right? And now she's retweeting like pedophiles, literal pedophiles who are saying, "Oh, I think the age of consent should come down to 12." And she's like, "Yeah, I like this person because they're a gender crit like me, or giant clit like her, more like." So yeah, that's another thing that Labour need to get the fucking hold on. I'm so glad I changed the name of this channel, really. I am. Do you think Labour will do anything, though? If enough of us kick up a stink, yes. But they have to do it now, before he donates the money, because they're not going to be able to make it illegal after the event. So as soon as they possibly can. I just find it very, very frustrating that in a way that I've been, and I want to apologise to you, the viewers on this channel, because I've been saying about Labour when they've done something fucking annoying or ignores the things that I care about, like Europe, and I've challenged an MP on it. They've said, a Labour MP, they've said, "Oh, it's not a priority right now. It's not a priority for people on the doorsteps. It's not a priority. It's not a priority." Okay, fine, right? I believe them when they told me that, but it seems to me that might have been bullshit, because I don't recall when I was doorstepping for Labour back in the election in June, sorry. I don't recall going into, knocking on someone's door and them opening up and saying the biggest problem in the world that we've got right now is a handful of children who are trans are being prescribed puberty blockers. That's the biggest problem. And Labour's like, shit, we've got to make that an A1 priority. It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. This is a thing that affects a small number of people, and it should be between them and their doctor. That is it. No shiny-faced wanker Wes Streeting standing in between you and your doctor, or your child and the doctor, and saying, no, we can't have this, it's so immoral. It's so immoral, giving children these medications that other children can have because they're not harmful. They just delay puberty. That's what they do. They delay puberty. And so if you're cisgender, you can still get them, but if you're transgender, you can't. And I just think it's disgusting that someone like Wes Streeting, and look, if you think you're going to write something in the chat that's transphobic, I'm going to chuck you off the site. So please, you'll be able to watch, but you won't be able to comment anymore. So please don't. But here's the thing, right? Wes Streeting's gay, and that's fine. Each to his own. And who doesn't, like to get with sailors on a Sunday night? It's Friday night. Oh, God. Anyway, did I say that out loud? Anyway, the point being, he feels to me like a traitor, not just to the progressive causes everywhere, but also to gay men. Because let's not forget, one of the icons of the gay movement is Alan Turing. Alan Turing was probably the most brilliant mathematician that lived since Euclid. Like, this guy was insanely good at maths. He was better than Isaac Newton was at maths. Isaac Newton wasn't that great at maths. He was pretty good. Sorry, I was going to say Robert Hooke wasn't very good at maths, and he wrote to Newton and said, "Hey, can you do the maths for this?" But there's quite a few things in Newton's Principia that have been amended over time, like they've been corrected, and so E equals mv, which was wrong. It was E equals mv squared, which then got amended to E equals mc squared after MC Hammer by Einstein. But anyway, I'm just digressing here. So Alan Turing, great mathematician, this guy who basically invented the computer that we know of today. I know Charles Babbage did his own thing with his cogs and whistles and things, but he's seen as the guy, he built the Manchester Mark I, he built the Colossus machine. Well, Tommy Flowers built the machine, but he, did the prototype for it, and he cracked the Enigma code, which arguably stopped the war, right? Earlier than it otherwise would have done. Ended the war. By about 2 years, I feel that the war was shortened, Second World War, because of the cracking of the Enigma code, right? That's millions of lives. Millions of lives. Don't forget, up to that point, the point at VE Day, the Americans still hadn't finished off their nuclear bomb. So they never used it in Europe. But had Germany still not surrendered, they might have dropped one bomb in Japan and might have dropped another one in Berlin. Could have happened. And that was stopped from happening by your man, Alan Turing, right? Now, Alan Turing was gay. And he was burgled by a guy he brought back to his place. And the police were like, he rang the police and said, I've been burgled. And he said, why is this guy here? I said, well, I was having sex with him, wasn't I? And they're like, oh, okay, because he may have been a bit autistic, so he might have just spouted out, the truth, as some autistic people do, which is fine. The police said, sorry, we don't care about the burglary anymore. All we care about is the fact that being gay is illegal because this is the 1950s. Ha 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 ha. And they arrested him. They arrested him and threatened to throw him in jail. And he would have not be able to do any more research or any more of his job was on the line, essentially. And they said, the only way we're going to stop you, the only way you can not go to jail is by taking a course of estrogen. Because back then, they thought that being gay was caused by testosterone. The more testosterone you had, the more gay you were, which is fine. But also, it's kind of like, okay, so how do we stop all this testosterone being produced naturally in this human being? We'll give them estrogen. That'll counteract the testosterone. Only it doesn't work like that. But what it did do is it made Alan Turing grow breasts. And he was so unhappy that he took his own life. And what this ban on puberty blockers does is it means that there are trans boys out there who do not want to grow breasts. If they do, they will need to have a procedure to remove them, top surgery. They would rather not grow breasts if they can help it. But thanks to this dickhead Wes Streeting creep, both on the NHS and private clinics cannot prescribe puberty blockers to stop what happened to Alan Turing happening to trans boys, trans teens who want to be masculine. And that to me is beyond disgusting. If it was a heterosexual man doing this, I'd be pissed off anyway. But for a gay man to do this, it's beyond anything. It's just, yeah. So I'm really, really not happy with Labour. Lots of people are feeling the same way as me at the moment. One thing that keeps me buoyant is most Labour MPs, the vast majority are all right. You can have a chat with them and put the world to rights, whatever. But when it comes to prioritising what needs to be done, I don't think they do a very good job. I really don't think that they're doing a very good job at the moment, because what needs to be done is not just undoing the 14 years of Tory chaos. They also need to be winning the hearts and minds of the population so they get in again in 2029. So we're not lumbered with Prime Minister fucking Nigel Farage. This is really critical, because if we do end up with Farage the fascist in Downing Street at the same time that Trump the fascist is in America, and I know you're going to say, but Graham, his term is only 4 years. Is it though? Is it? His term's going to be until he dies. Guarantee it. I put money on that. And so they need to prioritize not just getting the economy back on its feet. And if they were going to do that, obviously rejoining the single market would be the fastest way to get the economy back on its feet. But also, economic figures out today don't look good again, and they're not going to ever until we rejoin the EU. It's as simple as that. Because in order to make money, you've got to sell shit. And we've told our closest customers, people who live next door, to fuck off. And we've bricked up our doorway to our shop and said, "Oh, just if you want to buy anything off us, you got to turn up with a sledgehammer and take this wall down and come." Yeah, not great. So that aside, though, they need to be winning the battle of the hearts and minds, and by not prioritizing press reform, by not going after these political donations and making sure they can't do it in the future, by not cleaning up politics, because it doesn't benefit Labour. This is the mad thing about all these like corrupt things that the Conservatives and the Republicans and the Elon Musk and Peter Thiels and Rupert Murdochs of the world do and always get away with. These fuckers should all be in jail for their crimes, but they're not, because they get away with it. Boris Johnson got away with it. He had parties. He had 19 parties when you couldn't go to your nan's funeral. And he got away with it. Like, he paid, what, £50 fine, did he? £50? He earns that a second. Like, what does he care? £50 nothing to him. You know, someone gave him a castle, for fuck's sake. Bannon has already suggested Trump can stand in 28, says Band of Harp. He won't have to. There's going to be no more elections. Look, what's going to happen is there's going to be a disaster, as there always is, now and again, you know, periodically, more likely because of climate change. And Trump is going to use that as a pretext to declare martial law and suspend elections. He will do this first for the midterms, and then he'll do it for the presidential elections, and he will change the constitution if he needs to. And actually, he doesn't need to change the constitution. This is an important thing. People go, "Oh, you can't change the constitution. You need 2/3 majority in both the House of Representatives and the Senate in order to change the constitution." Yeah. But unfortunately, the people in charge of interpreting the Constitution are the 9 Supreme Court judges, 6 of whom are fucking batshit insane Trumpers, anti-abortionists, anti-democratic, anti-life, just scum. Basically, these people are the worst of the worst, and they get to interpret what the Constitution means. So when the Constitution says one thing, they can make it mean another. Like many people have done with religion over the years, where they go, "Well, I know it says an eye for an eye, but you know, is it really an eye for an eye? Is it? Do we really have to gouge out someone's eye if they've accidentally bashed someone in the face and taken out their eye? Do we really? Do you know at the end of that verse, it says an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It says an arm for an arm, a leg for a leg. It goes through all these different body parts, and then it gets to the bottom. It says, unless they're your slave, and then they're your property, and you can beat them with a stick. But if they get up in the morning, there's no problem. If they don't get up in the morning, there's a bit of a problem. If you beat someone else's slave, that's a problem, but, you know, only to the slave master that you have to give money to in compensation. If a woman is raped in this same part of the Bible, and she's not married, she has to marry the man who raped her. But don't worry, the rapist has to pay 50 shekels to her father, which is about, 75p in modern money. It has to pay 75p to the father of the woman he raped for the inconvenience. Sorry for the inconvenience. And that's in the Bible. So people squint at that and go, I'm going to interpret that differently. The most famous bit of the Bible that people misinterpret or purposely misinterpret is it the 7th commandment? Thou shalt not kill. I like the way that came 7th. It was like not the first important one. That was about being jealous or something. Number one is all about the number one, the inventor of the universe, who's a jealous God, and you'll have no other gods. But no, get down to number 7 or 8 or whatever number it is, and it says, thou shalt not kill. And oh my God, have people interpreted that one, especially Christians, have interpreted that one to mean other things over the years. And don't forget that commandment still holds true for people who follow Judaism, people who follow Islam. Thou shalt not kill. Yeah, but did they really mean kill? And who did they mean kill? I mean, did they mean don't kill a fly? I mean, that would be mad, wouldn't it? I mean, people kill flies all the time. I mean, so yeah, this is an existential. What Elon Musk, shiny-faced, space Karen weirdo. What he represents to our country is an existential threat coming from abroad. And I think that's the point you're going to have to make to your racist relatives and your friends who think that UKIP are okay and that Reform are blah, blah, blah. And Nigel Farage he's the only one who speaks his mind, like other MPs don't say what they think. Angela Rayner has never, ever said what she thinks. Jess Phillips never said what she thinks. They're all just little wallflowers compared to Nigel Farage, who, when questioned about why the fact he has a man who beat a woman as one of his, as 20% of his elected party in Parliament, he says, "Oh, you've had your games, you've had your funny games. I've got 1 million people follow me on TikTok," like a child. That's something a child would say, and then he goes off to have lunch. Yeah. Anyway, we'll go on. He was one of the Enigma code breakers. He's an Anglican. I find supporting Labour harder and harder. I've been Labour all my adult life, and so has my entire family. Even MC squared not correct. It's MC squared plus P2. Well, there you go, Joanna. P squared, I guess. It's the same as when immigrants are racist towards other immigrants of colour, treating as a bit of a bigot. No one is immune to being racist or bigoted. That's true, I guess. I guess I'm quite bigoted towards lazy people. I'm just going to call anyone on the right now lazy because they are. They can't be asked thinking for themselves. It's the ultimate in laziness. I mean, that's worse than not getting off the couch. That's literally... You can be lying on the couch and thinking is too much like hard work for you. So we need to combat this laziness, this uncaring, kind of unfeeling, blasé nature of a lot of people in this country who just think it's okay to let 1 million-year-olds and Antipodean come and drip poison into their ears and into their faces and into their brains because... it beats thinking for a living. I think we need to have a plan to claim asylum when Oolong buys the next election. Well, this is it. But Labour can stop that from happening. Labour can stop that from happening. And you can help. Write to your MP and say, I'm really, really concerned about foreign money coming into British politics and subverting it, as we saw happened in the Brexit fraudulendum when millions came over. We know that Aaron Banks magicked up £7 million from his Isle of Man funds that no one knows where they came from, and he spent it all on convincing people that our neighbours were our enemies. Because that bit where Jesus said, "Love thy neighbour." I mean, that doesn't count for France. I mean, they're only our neighbour, but you can't love them. Come on, let's be sensible here. Yeah, that's why he nominated RFK Jr. for health. The guy who's got a brainworm who thinks that vaccinations are a bad thing. Do you know what's a bad thing? Robert F. Kennedy. That's a bad thing. And children are going to die. Children are going to die. I said to Tan last night, she's going to have to rename her show next year from dystopia warning to diphtheria warning, especially in America. And another problem is that the number of people who move, flying about the world to and from America, means that if there's an outbreak of something in America, it's very likely there'll be an outbreak of it all around the world. Measles, which, I left one of my friends in a coma and left my partner deaf. But it's fine. The vaccine is more harmful, really, if you think about it. Why? Why is that? Oh, because I know more than every doctor ever. I just know more because I read something on the internet. I saw a fucking meme. I can't be arsed thinking, shut up, I'm lazy, okay? I'm really, really lazy. I can't be arsed getting up my arse, getting an A-level, getting a fucking degree from a university or travelling to every country in the world. I can't be arsed doing that. It's too much like hard work. I can't even be arsed thinking for myself. That's half the population of this country, and we've got to slap them out this reverie. We've got to slap them out of it. I mean, metaphorically speaking, obviously violence is never the answer. But, oh my God, tell them to stop being so fucking lazy. So when you have this conversation around the Christmas dinner table, and someone says something that they're just parroting something from the Mail or the Express or the Scum or the Times or the Telegraph, just say to them, why are you so lazy? Like, what is it? What is it about life that makes you not want to, grab it by the horns and find out everything you can get, find out more information? If you've got not enough hours in the day for you, it's just to do a little bit of Googling a little bit, have a look on Wikipedia, see if it's backed up by any kind of, I don't know, evidence from anything other than a fucking meme or what Rupert Murdoch wants you to think. Blue Badger, I'm Christian, and no, you're not a fan of religion. I'm not a fan of people using the Old Testament for excuses for violence and cruelty. I believe in love neighbor, and treat others as you would want to be. Yeah, that's great, but it's still an interpretation. Like, Jesus said one thing, and people interpret it in a certain way. And this is what my point was about the Supreme Court. It doesn't matter what's in the Constitution. They can interpret it however they want. It's an old joke about the right to bear arms, meaning you can wear T-shirts. You can bear your arms. I don't think they're going to do that, though. My family read the Times, just parrot it around the table, said W. James. Oh, yeah, Murdoch. It's the Murdoch press. The argument is that vax was made too fast with little clinical trials. That isn't true, however. Sat-nav, it wasn't. I mean, you're right. It was a SARS vaccine that they've been developing for decades, and they modified it to deal with COVID. And saying that it's untested when it's been given to over 1 billion people. Were there 1 billion deaths? No. I know people who, Bear, who came with me to Ukraine a couple of years ago, he was in a coma. He was in coma because of COVID. And like, I don't know anyone who had the vaccine and, they might have felt ill the rest of the day, because that's what happens with vaccines. Might have a sore arm, but I don't know anyone who's been put in a coma by it. I mean, I'm sure that some people have adverse effects to a vaccination, but usually it's not the vaccination, it's the jab. It's the actual metal going into your arm and your body's reaction. Your body just goes crazy over it. And I'm sorry, these things happen. Toxic shock. Some women have died inserting a tampon. And you think, what? How? What? It happens. It happens. But that's not to say that all tampons are bad and no one should use tampons anymore. I mean, that way madness lies. But here you go. You've got a foreign body being put into your arm, and some people react in an extreme way to that. But the actual vaccine itself, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't. It just trains your body what to look out for if you ever get a particular disease. It's just baffling why some people just believe what they want to believe, and they put their fingers in their ears and go, la, 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 la. I'm not going to listen to anything else. And so, yeah, what I'm trying to say is think for yourself. Don't even listen to me. Do your own research, as they say. Not even that. The amount of processing power available to COVID vaccines was utterly insane. Pretty much all the supercomputers were roped in, as was the folding at home crew. Ooh, folding at home. So that's to do with proteins and the different types of proteins that you can make by folding them. Isn't it? I might be wrong. I don't know. Been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong again at some point. I'm going to piss off now and go celebrate Christmas. No, I'm not. It's not for a week. So it is the last... Oh, God, I've gone over time. But we were interrupted by the postman. We've got our last Prime Minister's questions of the year at 12 o'clock. So please join me for that. We can all have a good old laugh at Kemi Badenoch for being completely useless at her job. She's really shit at it. She's really shit at it, which is great news for me because I hate the Tories and I want them out of office forever because they're all a bunch of corrupt bastards who are all born into money or spat out their mum's fadges into a big pile of cash, and they think they're God's bloody gift, and anyone who says anything different is, what is it, the politics of envy. Yeah. So if you got money, you're a champagne socialist. If you don't, it's the politics of envy, mate. Yeah. There's a thing to shut anyone up who might say, hey, what's going on with wealth distribution in this country? Why do 1% of the population have like 99% of the riches? Why is that? Why is that? Yeah. Anyway, right. I know I exaggerate. I'll see you at 12. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow at 9:30 for another morning brew. And we might actually do the papers tomorrow. I did actually set the papers up to go through. Hey, look, I'm in the corner. But you didn't get a chance to do that. So next time, Gadget, we'll try and do that. But, I mean, we seem to be going over time quite a lot on this show. Just what we do. Right. Did Phil say he's doing 30-minute video? 30 minutes. Did Phil say he's doing 30-minute videos, interesting afternoons from today? I don't know. Maybe. I know he's looking for different ways of doing his videos to see what works, and he's working with YouTube. You know, he's got like a YouTube mentor or something that like says, "Hey Phil, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that?" To boost his numbers. But I just want to say congratulations to Phil. He passed his 200,000 subscriber mark yesterday. Sorry, not yesterday, over the weekend. So congratulations, Phil Morehouse. And Phil will be back here on Friday at 1 o'clock for the agenda. Okay, so hopefully see you at 12. If not, see you at 8:30 tomorrow morning. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.